Hey everyone, this is a refresher for Inish. The goal of the game is to be elected High King and then satisfy the most win conditions. Each figure is referred to as a clan. There are two building types, Citadels and Sanctuaries. There's no limit to the number of buildings a territory can contain. Citadels allow players to protect their clans during clashes, and the larger citadel is the capital. The Bren is the temporary leader until someone is appointed High King. The Flock of Crows token shows which direction to resolve turn order, either clockwise or counterclockwise. When someone meets a victory conditions requirement, they can choose to take one pretender token. Deeds are earned through action or epic tale cards. A deed is wild and allows a player to supplement a victory condition. The festival marker is used when the festival action card is played during the season phase. There are two different icons that indicate when a card can be played. Season cards are played during the season phase on the owner's turn, and Triskel cards can be played at specific times. Action cards are drafted during the assembly phase at the start of each round. These cards aren't kept from round to round. If you don't play all of your action cards during the season phase, they are discarded and shuffled with the other action cards to prepare for the next round. During the assembly phase, the chieftain of each territory takes its matching advantage card. Once you have an advantage card, you keep it for the entire round until you choose to play it. You can keep the card until the end of the round, even if an effect causes you to no longer be the chieftain of that territory. Advantage cards are not kept from round to round, but you can have the same advantage card in back-to-back rounds if you are still the chieftain of that territory. Epic Tales cards are drawn when certain game effects occur, and they are kept from round to round until played. These icons show you the card's general effect. Build, move, recruit, or that playing the card may initiate a clash. Now let's move on to the setup. If you're playing a 2 to 3 player game, put the action cards that have a 4 in the bottom right corner back in the box. They won't be used. In this video, I'll be simulating a 3-player game. Each player chooses a color and takes their clan figures. Place the deed tokens, pretender tokens, and festival marker near the play area. Shuffle the epic tale cards and place them in a face-down pile. Shuffle the territory tiles and place them face down. Then draw a number of territory tiles equal to the number of players and place them face up and interlocked with each other. New territories are always placed adjacent to 2 other territories. Search for the advantage cards that match the territories and place them face up near the play area so that each card is visible. Place the other advantage cards in a face down pile. Then give the Bren marker to a random player. The Bren chooses one territory to be the capital and places the capital and one sanctuary there. Then the Bren flips the Flock of Crows token. The face-up side indicates the direction of the turn order, so in this case clockwise. Starting with the Bren and then proceeding in the direction indicated by the Flock of Crows token, each player takes turns placing one clan in any territory until each player has placed 2 clans somewhere on the board. Whoever has the most clans in a territory is referred to as chieftain of that territory. If there's a tie, then the territory has no chieftain. So if we look at the valley, we can see that blue is the chieftain of this territory because they have 2 clans and green has 1 clan. Each round has 2 phases, the assembly phase and the season phase. In the assembly phase, the Bren is appointed, victory conditions are checked, turn order is set, chieftains take advantage cards, and players draft action cards. In the season phase, each player will play cards from their hand. Now let's focus on the assembly phase. In the assembly phase, you'll first assign the Bren. The chieftain of the capital territory becomes the Bren and takes the marker. If there is no chieftain, the Bren does not change even if none of the current Bren's clans are in the territory. So in this case, blue would be the Bren because they have more clans than anyone else in the capital territory. Then check to see if someone has won. If not, everyone returns any pretender tokens that they had. Then take advantage cards. The chieftain of each territory takes the matching advantage card. If a territory doesn't have a chieftain, the advantage card stays face up near the play area. So in this case, the blue player is chieftain of the valley. White is the chieftain of the cove. And the plains have no chieftain because they each have 1 clan, and in a tie that means there's no chieftain of that territory. Then the Bren flips the Flock of Crows token to determine the turn order. In a 3 to 4 player game, the Bren takes all of the action cards, shuffles them, randomly sets 1 card aside face down, then deals 4 cards to each player. The set-aside card is not part of the action card discard pile. There are special rules for playing with 2 players, but I won't cover them in this video. Each player looks at the action cards in their hand and chooses 1 to hold. Then they pass the other 3 to the next player in the direction shown on the Flock of Crows token. Each player adds the card that they held to the 3 new cards that were passed to them. Then each player chooses 2 cards to hold, and they pass the other 2. Each player adds the 2 cards they held to the 2 new cards passed to them. Then each player chooses 3 cards to hold, and then passes 1 card. At the end of the assembly phase, each player will have 4 action cards in their hand, and maybe some advantage and epic tail cards. So you'll hold 1 card, pass 3, then you'll hold 2 cards, pass 2, then you'll hold 3 cards, passing 1. Once drafting is done, then you move on to the season phase. The Bren starts by playing the first card, which must be a season card. Then the next player chooses to play a season card, pass, or take a pretender token. This continues with each player in turn order choosing one of the 3 options until all players have consecutively passed. If a player has no clans in any territories when their turn begins, they must discard a deed token if they have one. Then whether they discarded a deed token or not, they place a total of 2 clans in any of the territories. Then they take their turn as normal, playing a season card, passing, or taking a pretender token. Once all players have passed, the season ends and a new round begins with the assembly phase. After playing a season card, resolve the indicated effect and then discard the card. So this card says that I can place 1 Sanctuary in a territory where you are present and then draw 1 epic tail card. So I could add a Sanctuary here, I would get a epic tail card, and then I would discard this card. Remember that 1 or more Triskel cards can be played in response to the same action. Cards are discarded differently based on the type of card that was played. Action cards are discarded in a face-down pile, and you can only look through this discard pile if a card effect allows you to. Advantage cards are placed face down near the play area with the card back visible. Epic tail cards are discarded in a face-up discard pile, and you can look at the cards in this discard pile at any time. If you choose to pass, you don't play any cards, and then it's the next player's turn. You can choose to take a pretender token if you meet at least 1 victory condition and you do not already have a pretender token. You'd place the token in front of you and keep it there until the assembly phase. At the end of the season, when all players have consecutively passed, the season ends. All players keep their epic tail cards and then discard all of their action cards. If someone has an advantage card in their hand and they are no longer the chieftain of that territory, they place the advantage card face up near the play area. If the festival marker is in a territory at the end of a season, remove it and place it near the play area. A clash occurs when 1 or more clans are moved into a territory that has opposing clans in that territory. Some card effects can cause clashes to occur without any clans moving. A clan that is placed in a territory, for example with the new clan's action card, does not initiate a clash. Cards that can initiate a clash have the clash icon in the top right corner. When a clash is initiated, the owner of the incoming clan is the instigator. If a card initiates a clash, the card will tell you which player is the instigator. If there's a clash, it has to be resolved before moving on with the round. If a single effect causes multiple clashes, then the instigator chooses which clash to resolve first. Clashes are resolved in 2 steps, Citadels and then Resolution. During the Citadels step, clans can take shelter in the Citadels of the clashing territory. A clan in a Citadel is protected and is not involved in the clash. After the clash ends, the clan leaves the Citadel. Starting with the next player after the instigator and proceeding in turn order, each player except the instigator can take one of their clans in the clashing territory and place it in an unoccupied citadel. When each citadel has a clan in it, or when no players wish to occupy them, you move on to the resolution step. So if green moved in, they are the instigator. The white player could choose to put one of their clans into a citadel. So let's say that they do that. Now there are no more open citadels, so the citadels phase would end. As a reminder, if the festival marker is in the clashing territory, the player who initiated the clash immediately loses a clan before the citadel step. During a clash, any clans that are in the clashing territory who are not in a citadel are called exposed clans. So that would be this 1 white clan and the 2 green clans. Starting with the instigator and proceeding in turn order, each player who has one or more exposed clans performs one maneuver. Then you continue taking turns performing maneuvers until the clash ends. Each player has to choose one maneuver. You cannot pass. And remember that before each maneuver, all players who have exposed clans can discuss and agree to immediately end the clash. There are 3 maneuvers to choose from: attack, withdraw, and epic tail maneuver. After each maneuver has been performed, including any Triskel cards that may have been played, check to see if the clash ends. If there are no exposed clans in the clashing territory, the clash ends. If there's at least one exposed clan, the clash continues. So since the green player is the instigator, they would go first. To attack, choose someone who has one or more exposed clans in the clashing territory. They can choose to discard an action card in their hand with no effect, or they can take one of their engaged clans and return it to their reserve. The second maneuver you can choose to do is the withdraw maneuver. To withdraw, move one or more of your exposed clans to adjacent territories where you are the chieftain. The withdraw maneuver does not initiate another clash. So if the green player wanted to withdraw, they could move both of their clans to the plains because they are the chieftain of that territory. Note that if you are the chieftain of more than one territory, you can divide your clans between those different territories. The third maneuver is the epic tail maneuver. Some epic tail cards with Triskel symbols can be played as a maneuver. A clash ends when all involved players agree to end the clash, or when there are no exposed clans remaining in the clashing territory. If there is only one player who has exposed clans in the territory, they decide either to end the clash or to perform a maneuver, which would probably be a withdraw maneuver. When the clash ends, all clans occupying citadels are placed back in the territory. There are 3 victory conditions, and each player can meet several of them. During step 2 of the assembly phase, check for victory and see how many victory conditions each player with a pretender marker currently meets. One victory condition is to be chieftain over 6 or more opposing clans. Add up the total number of opposing clans in territories where the player is the chieftain. If there are 6 or more, the player has met a victory condition. So here, blue is chieftain over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 clans. Another victory condition is to be present in territories with 6 or more total sanctuaries. Add up the total number of sanctuaries in territories where the player has 1 or more clans present, even if they aren't the chieftain. If there are 6 or more, the player has met the victory condition. So here, green is present in territories with 6 sanctuaries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The final victory condition is to be present in 6 or more territories. Add up the total number of territories where the player has 1 or more clans present, even if they aren't the chieftain. If there are 6 or more, the player has met this victory condition. So here, blue is present in 6 different territories, and so they would meet this victory condition. Deed tokens are kept in front of the player that earned them. Each deed token acts as a wild toward meeting any one of the victory conditions by adding 1 to the number of specified requirements. One deed cannot be used to complete several victory conditions at once. Each deed can only be used to complete a single victory condition. Deeds are not discarded after being used. So since blue is in 5 territories, they need 6 to satisfy the victory condition. They could use this deed token to add 1 to that victory condition so that they would have 6 and they would satisfy it. During step 2 of the assembly phase, check for victory to see if there's a winner. If no player has a pretender token, then there is no winner, even if more than one person met one of the victory conditions. If 1 or more players have a pretender token, the player who meets the most victory conditions wins. If the Bren is one of the tied players, the Bren wins the game. If the Bren is not one of the tied players, there is no winner. If there's no winner, all pretender tokens are returned to the supply and the game continues for another round. That's Inish. Thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe for more Cosmic Tavern.